everybody, and welcome to Blue Jays Today, where your boys always have something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. I am your host, Nicholas Playlog.
And I'm your host, Adam Peddle. And today, guys, we got a lot to talk about. The Toronto Blue Jays are coming off a sweep from the Boston Red Sox. We have been dominating six in a row.
We flexed those Toronto Blue Jays muscles this past weekend, big guy.
And we have raised all of our offensive stats, by a lot, significantly.
That got buffed this weekend.
They got buffed. But we got that to talk about, and as well, a little bit later, we got to talk about some trade rumors that are going around the MLB, looking at some of that, and as well as always, the power rankings and the week ahead. All right, let's start with those Toronto Blue Jays. Why don't we?
I think that's a great idea, big guy. So obviously the big news, everybody, we had that All-Star game, we had the home run derby, and then the Toronto Blue Jays came out and had their own little home run derby, scoring 28 runs against the Boston Red Sox. Just absolutely embarrassing every Boston fan. And I actually felt bad. Like, if you were a Boston fan and you bought tickets to that game, think about how horrible that is.
Oh, my God.
You know, it's like the game is actually over by the third inning, and then you're just debating, do I stay here and boo my own team and watch this garbage, or do, I go home and try to salvage this night that I have? Because now I have, fucking so much time, or I could watch this garbage.
Well, think about it. You can watch this garbage that will probably take well over 3 hours because they just keep pummeling the runs.
We just keep pummeling, bro. We just keep pummeling.
I know, and I know that feeling. It's not a good feeling. So sorry, Boston fans.
Yeah, I do feel bad for you, but at the same point, not that bad because that was pretty fucking awesome.
Yes, it was.
To score 28 runs, to almost get so close to that MLB record, to break our own record, to break the record of runs scored against you guys. All of it was just phenomenal, and it really was, I think, just the perfect way. In fact, it was the perfect way to start the second half of the season and really get things rolling.
Absolutely. And now, guys, we are sitting not super comfortably in that first wild card spot. Only half a game more than the Tampa Bay Rays, who are also hot right now, 7-3 in their last 10. But, it's a good sign to be. It's a good place to be.
And
right
also
there.
Against a division rival to not only just annihilate them on the field, but that was fucking psychological warfare that we just inflicted on them. How do you go home after that and recover and try to play the next game?
Bro, well, how do you go home and think that you're even a competitive ball team anymore?
Dude, straight up.
That's a serious question.
It is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually don't know. And I think that a lot of those guys, if I was a Boston Red Sox and I played in that game after all of the defensive woes and everything pitching, it was just awful, I'd be like, damn, I could very easily get traded this trade deadline.
Well, that's the thing.
I don't know if my job's secure anymore, man. So I think that not only did we beat them on the field, but it's we beat them off the field.
Well, let me ask you: do you think the Boston Red Sox should be trading away pieces at the deadline? They have a lot of pieces. They have a lot of pieces. It is a
very good question, man. And I've seen some names like Xander Bogaerts get thrown out. In fact, we're gonna look at it later. But with a guy like Juan Soto, Xander Bogaerts' name get thrown out there. Boston being a competitor in that. I don't know if that's gonna be accurate or something that's gonna happen, but Bogart's name getting thrown around, JD Martinez' name getting thrown around. I've always thought that these Boston Red Sox, they have a good enough roster to win. Frankly, I think if anything should happen for the Boston Red Sox, if I was the management there, I would fire Alex Cora because I feel like their roster is kind of similar to our roster in the sense where it's there's just too much talent on here to be this bad. Yeah. So somebody's got to go, and my first thing I do be the manager. Yeah. That'd be me.
Manager's got to go, and you got JD Martinez. Yeah, he's dealing with a little bit of an injury right now, but hey, who wouldn't want JD Martinez slotted in the middle of the lineup? You got some bullpen pieces too that could go. Hey, you even have Nathan Eovaldi. That's their one guy pitcher that could probably be pretty good.
I will absolutely admit that if they do decide to go the route of we're gonna sell everybody, then I do imagine the Boston Red Sox are gonna bring in a haul, and even though they might not be competitive for 2, 3, 4 years, there will eventually be a team fielded with all of those prospects that they acquire. Yeah. That's probably going to be pretty damn good.
I agree. And to cap off this thought, I don't think they will do it. Just because, imagine saying that to the Boston fans. The fans in Boston who are super passionate. Hey, you're 3 games out of a wild card spot, but we don't think so. You're done.
It doesn't feel right. That's why I truly believe, if they were going to do anything, Cora, you're cut, you're gone, and just like ride the Blue Jays wave and hope that whoever your interim manager is just like picks up the Sox and we do better. You know, kind of like what we're doing right now.
Exactly, and they have the ability to do it. We've seen it happen so many times in the last couple of years, so they can do it.
Agreed. So literally look out for that, guys. Boston Red Sox could be on the move. Maybe a Nathan Eovaldi to the Toronto Blue Jays podcast could be coming out. Dude, I would be okay with that.
I mean,
even though we annihilated him, I would be all right with it.
Yeah.
But moving back towards our Blue Jays, after that 28-5 win, you know, it was just like, again, psychological warfare really did get inflicted on these guys, because then it was what, like a 4-, what was the next one?
4-1.
4-1.
And then 8-4.
So quiet game, and then solid 8-4 to cap it off at the end there. So like, we just had their number the entire way. Whenever you score 40 runs in 3 games, like, I think you're going to win most of those games. I was actually thinking about it today, too. 40 runs would be a great number for 7 games.
For a whole week.
For a whole week.
100%.
We did that in 3 games, and we picked up 3 Ws.
Yeah, and also what I like, because obviously the offense is the big story, and we got a lot of guys to point out how amazing their weekend was over in Boston. But the pitching, too. Only 3.333, et cetera, runs per game.
Right.
That's great. I mean, with our offense, like, that's a winning team.
Absolutely. You cannot complain with that. So, like, GG Blue Jays, this is the exact start that we wanted to get off to. I'm very, very happy with it. Let's take a look at some of the guys who really kicked ass. And, I mean, this list is going to be fucking long now, guys.
It's super long. I mean, there's a lot of guys I could point out, but I got to point out just the really notable ones.
Totally.
Let's start up at the top of the lineup. We got Vladdy, who went 7 for 13. That's a .539 batting average.
Thank you, Guerrero.
Thank you. And what's funny is some of his hits, like, they were like ground ball, like infield hits. There's actually quite a few of them. But a hit's a hit.
Yeah.
A hit's a hit.
I'm gonna say it right now, guys. The J of the week is not the Boston Red Sox defense. However, that was literally a contending team, or like a contending thing, in my opinion. Like, they did help us out a lot. Our team played awesome, but I just want to throw it out there. Like,
you're right.
They played horrible in the field. So that's just something to note. Whenever you score 28 runs, there are going to be errors and screw-ups and just shit that, like, isn't supposed to happen. Everything went wrong for the Boston Red Sox. So, like, thank you, Boston Red Sox defense. You guys really helped the Blue Jays today.
Absolutely. Another guy on this list is the Lord.
Yeah.
The Lord.
Hooray to the fucking Lord,
He was
baby.
amazing. Most of these hits came in that first game when he got that 6-hit night.
6 hits. Yeah.
Amazing. That ties a Blue Jays record for most hits in a game.
Yeah.
But total, he hit .467 with 5 RBIs. Gotta love to see it.
Thank you, Lord.
What else we got here? Oh, we got Danny Jansen. Now this Danny Jansen, he only went 3 for 11, but he drove in 7 runs.
Okay, yeah, he did
2
have,
homers.
I think, 2 homers.
2
He's going to
homers.
do that for you, right?
2 homers.
So, yeah, he was phenomenal, dude. Also, like, shout out on the pitching side of things, like, this seems to happen week in, week out, but Alek Manoah was dominant. Even though we were exchanging some words with some of the Boston Red Sox, didn't matter. He came out, threw some punchies, as he'd like to say. I think he got 7 of them. So, like, Manoah was absolutely solid. And in a game where the offense was, meh, with 4 runs, Manoah came out and fucking dominated.
That's how you got to do it.
Exactly.
That's how you got to do it. Real quick, I'll just throw out a couple more names. Chapman with an OPS of 1.409.
Right.
Tio with an OPS of 1.488.
Yeah.
Lots of great guys. Now, there's one guy who had the highest OPS, one of the highest batting averages, and the most runs driven in. And that is
our J of the week!
Yeah, baby, it's the J of the week. You guys, take a moment, guess in the chat, who is the J of the week?
Yeah.
It's usually someone who we haven't mentioned.
Yeah.
And this is their first J of the week.
Yeah, it is.
So
and you know what? I'm very happy with it, man. Like, I think when, at the beginning of the season, I don't know if I would have expected this guy to ever win one of these. So, this was an exceptional one. That was only a 3-game sample size. So, little J of the week with an asterisk next to it, but still very, very dominant.
Yes.
You guys have started to guess. Ceruddles, you got it right, big guy. The answer is Raymel Tapia.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Let's go, Tapia.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Tapia, baby. This guy was slapping the ball all over the place, and especially the one big slap into deep center field off the wall from inside the park. Grand slam. You guys are getting it.
Yeah.
I'll read his numbers here, guys. He went 6 for 12 in 2 games. Went 6 for 12 with 10 RBIs, 3 runs scored. It's the 10 RBIs.
Yeah, the 10 RBIs is pretty massive. You know,
scored
in 3 games, guys. Or 2 games, excuse me.
In 2 games.
Yeah, that's
incredible.
Ridiculous.
Incredible. And in the whole series, he scored a quarter of the runs that we drove in. A quarter of all those runs. That's 40.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, right?
That's a lot of them.
And his OPS was 1.5.
Yeah.
That's amazing. He also got that triple as well. That bases clearing triple.
Yeah, he did, man. And, like, I will just say it right now, like, again, defense did help him out a little bit with that inside the park slam, but, like, I don't care. Nobody's going to remember that on the stat sheet, like, 2 months from now.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was dope. And, like, again, going back to the psychological warfare, that was a fucking, like, knife to the brain once he did that and, like, rounding the bases. Like,
that was game over.
It literally does not get more embarrassing than that. So that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Happy. You literally made history, big guy, and it's well-deserved.
Absolutely. Yeah, you guys are nailing it. You guys are loving it. All right. Let's move on, shall we?
Yeah. That's what the Blue Jays did this past week. We're going to look ahead at what the Blue Jays do this coming week a bit later. First, we're going to take a moment and just look around what's happening in the Major League right now. So there was a little bit of news today. I don't know how much of interest this is to you guys, but like there's something about international non-one mumbo jumbo, blah, blah, blah.
So the CBA came out today, and I was reading this briefly because anytime I see in the headlines MLBPA and MLB CBA, I'm like,
la 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 la,
baseball's on. But this is something to note: is there was a push to get international draft going because international free agents are international free agents. They're just signed when they're like 16 years old. I think that's kind of weird, and how it's like only the Americans and like some Canadians can join the draft, but like a lot of college players. But like we don't do it to the other people that are not American. You know what I mean?
It's
like
kind of dumb.
It's like, well, if everyone in the world can, like every other team can, NHL, NFL, like those people are in the draft. Everyone, no matter what country you're from.
Right.
But why not in baseball? So they're trying to push for it. It ain't gonna be a thing. So. It ain't going to be a thing.
Too bad. Too bad. Like, it would have been nice to have that. I think, it would definitely be good. However, I will say on the Blue Jays side of things, we're pretty damn good at scouting some people out when they're like 15, 16 years old. So, like, I'll take it in that regard. Like, that's pretty solid. So
who's this guy, Vladimir Guerrero?
Yeah. There's this really short Mexican kid out here that's, like, pretty good at baseball. Maybe we should give him a look, Yeah, exactly. So that's not going to happen, everybody. Moving forward, there has been a crap load of rumors circulating about the biggest star-studded outfielder, Juan Soto. We have to take a moment right now and break down and review some of the potential trades. Sportsnet came out with a great article. We want to look at it and basically talking about what are some ridiculous trades for Juan Soto, evaluating them, and looking at 7 different offers that could potentially happen this coming trade deadline, man. With every team seemingly in on this guy, it is hard to break down which one is going to happen, but we're going to try freaking now.
I mean, we both had a read of this article, and I will agree that this title is pretty accurate. No matter how far-fetched, right? Yes. that part is very needed it's pretty far-fetched.
It is absolutely important, and literally any trade regarding Juan Soto, I feel like there's going to be a level of, like, far-fetchedness, if that's even a freaking word. I don't think it is. But, like, these ones can get a little bit crazy. However, there is 1 or 2 on here that I was like, oh, I think that's actually pretty realistic. There's 1 or 2 on here where I'm like, I really could see that happening. So let's look at deal 1 right now.
Right here.
There we have it. It is actually with the Boston Red Sox, the team that we were just talking about, the team that we just annihilated.
Goodbye.
Literally. Maybe after this psychological warfare that we inflicted upon them, scoring 28 runs in 1 game.
They go trade for Juan Soto?
They lose it, and they decide, let's throw everything at Juan Soto, and that's kind of what this deal is here. So we got Juan Soto going to the Boston Red Sox, and you're going to see some numbers next to the player names right there. That's kind of an evaluation tool that Sportsnet was using right here. Juan Soto's going to Boston, and then in return, they got Marcelo Mayer, Tristan Casas, I think is how you say his name. Braylon Bello, who the Blue Jays annihilated this past weekend.
Right.
Tanner Houck, Nick York, and shortstop Xander Bogaerts.
Huge. I mean, this one I actually found to be pretty interesting and maybe pretty realistic, honestly. I mean, I don't think the Boston Red Sox are going to go get Juan Soto. I just don't see that happening. But it does make sense if you're the Washington Nationals. I mean, you get the number 10, 14, 44, and 64 prospects. That's a that
is Marcelo Mayer, Tristan, Brayan, and then Nick York. That is number 1 through 4 in the Boston system right there.
I mean, that's what you're going to want.
Exactly.
You're going to want that.
And then you're also getting a Xander Bogaerts. Now, we don't know if he's going to be like, well, he's not going to be on the same deal that he is on this year. Like, he's definitely going to want a new one.
Right.
But it's possible that the Washington Nationals could extend him.
Absolutely.
He's still not super duper old, and they are willing to give up money. They have said that. And Tanner Houck, I was looking at this guy. I did not realize that he's got a below 3 career ERA in the major leagues.
Yeah, he's really good. He's also in the bullpen. He's also in the bullpen now.
That is true.
So that's a factor.
But still, I mean, like, we would love to have a below 3 ERA bullpen guy.
He was their closer at one point.
Yeah.
He was literally their closer. So, I mean, that is honestly a big haul, and that's the kind of deal that would make a lot of sense, right? I mean, it's not like... They definitely want someone with a low service time in the major leagues. Xander Bogaerts isn't that guy, but he's a proven dude. And if you want to extend him, if you want to get an extension going with him, and you got 4 top prospects coming up around.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a nice rebuild.
It is absolutely possible. Now, I will say, I don't really think this deal is going to happen because if I was Boston, and then this is what I have to think. I think this is a great return for Washington. I don't know if this is the deal that Boston makes because they are giving up a lot right now. They are completely emptying the prospect capital right now. Like, it's all gone, trading away one of their best players right now and a really young guy in Tanner Houck. I just don't know. Like, all you're left with basically is Juan Soto and Rafael Devers, and those are definitely 2 very good players to have. But that's all you have in your team right now.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. Like, Boston needs to keep those guys and build them up because if we're talking about like them selling off pieces for a rebuild, well, you don't want to be selling away your rebuild pieces.
Exactly. So I think it'd be more likely that Boston like sells off Xander Bogaerts in one deal and like JD in another, and then actually adds to their prospect pool than give everything away.
If they decide to go that route.
If they decide to do that.
We'll
see. So that's deal 1 right there. Like maybe on that one. Deal number 2. This is with the St. Louis Cardinals, and this is a team that we've talked about on this channel before as being like what we think to be, top 3, top 4 candidates when it comes to acquiring Juan Soto. So here Juan Soto is going to them. They're giving up Dylan Carlson, outfielder, third baseman Jordan Walker, second baseman Nolan Gorman, and outfield Tyler O'Neill.
Yeah, now this one's a juicy one because these guys are very low service time players that we've been talking about who have come up to the major leagues and have looked really good.
Yeah.
And so that is kind of scary. If you're looking from a straight up St. Louis point of view and you're like, okay, like, I am giving up a lot of this depth, but if you do want that Juan Soto piece, it'd be really worth it. It is tough. You think it's a good deal for these guys?
So here's the thing, man. Like, I think I like this one actually more for the Cardinals than I do for the Washington Nationals. I like all these players, and Jordan Walker, if you guys don't know who Jordan Walker is, he's the 9th overall prospect in all of MLB. So, this is a very highly touted prospect right here. But Tyler O'Neill, I mean, he had a great season last year. He's having a bit of a down year right now. He's 27, so I mean, a bit older right there. You got Dylan Carlson. He's got a 737 OPS this year. Now, he is a former first rounder and should be very good, so, there's that. And then you got Nolan Gorman. He's got a 726 OPS this year. He should be very, very good as well, same as Dylan Carlson. If I was the St. Louis Cardinals, though, and I have 2 potential MVP candidates in Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt, I'm like, let me buy some Juan Soto. Let me have this, 900 OPS MVP perennial all-star on my team and just fucking win a World Series right now.
I'm going to agree with you on that. And I think that the Cardinals have had a really good time developing players, so I feel like it's not going to be the end of the world. You're giving up, again, that depth that's already at the major league level. I think Gorman, has he been sent back down or he's injured right now?
Not super familiar.
Not super familiar. But regardless, it's I feel like, you sandwich those 3 sluggers together, those, Goldschmidt, Arenado, Soto, that's going to help you win a World Series right now. Yeah. And, you got to cash in when you have those 2 guys popping off.
I think I prefer this deal to the Boston deal because I think it makes a bit more sense for both teams involved. Whereas for Boston, I don't know if it made as much sense for me, but this one, I could actively see something like that going down.
Yeah, I agree. All right, deal number 3.
You want to read this one?
Yeah, I'll read for it. We got the Tigers right now. Now, this one I actually thought was, when I first read it, I was like, really? But then I thought about it a little bit. I let it sit for me. We got Juan Soto going to the Tigers for Riley Green, right? That's their top prospect. Yep. Spencer Torkelson, that's another one of their top prospects. And Skubal Skubal, who's come up, and if I'm not mistaken, he's been doing pretty well.
He's been decent this year. He's been decent. I think he's got a below, like he's mid-3 ERA right now, but like still very young guy, 25 years old. Like he's been good at baseball. And also, not only is Riley Green their top prospect, he's the top prospect in all of MLB right now.
Yeah.
That's number one. That's literally number one. And like that was Spencer Torkelson until he got enough service time. And he did actually suck this year. So like minor concern right there for sure on both sides, I think. But like still, these are like high profile guys who should be very, very good at baseball very soon for obviously proven commodity in Juan Soto. What do you think about this one?
Actually, I really like this for the Tigers. You are giving up Skubal, who shows some potential, but look, the Detroit Tigers, like, they need a guy to be the superstar.
Right.
How cool would it be to bring in Juan Soto, and that is your superstar now? Yeah, sure, maybe it does, like, slow your window down a little bit, but, like, now you have, like, if hopefully you sign this guy back, and now you have all the time in the world. And we've seen them do this with Miguel Cabrera, and look how good that was for them.
Yeah.
During the early 2010 era. So this could be another Miguel Cabrera type of, like, deal, and I like it, especially because Torkelson's been struggling.
Yeah.
We haven't really seen Riley Green yet. And Skubal, I mean, you're just that on, buddy. It's Soto.
Yeah, I think I'm mildly concerned in this regard just because Riley Green is like literally the number 1 ranked prospect, and I'm like, like if that's fucking Guerrero, like this could easily be a loss,
Right.
But at the same point, we do know we're getting out of Juan Soto. So this one's tough. I don't know if Detroit's gonna do this move because it feels like they have their rebuild in place right now. Like this is their rebuild. They have it set in stone. So I don't know if this one's gonna happen, but I don't think it's horrible. And I think this would be enough of a return coming back to Washington to at least like entertain the question right now, this will definitely get the ball rolling.
Absolutely. All right,
number 4 on this list, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, this is actually the deal that I like the most. So Soto going to the Giants here. In return, Logan Webb, he is elite in the major leagues. Young kid, 25 years old, but he's a confirmed MLB stud at this point. They got shortstop Marco Luciano going back. They got pitcher Kyle Harrison, and then an outfielder, Louis Matos. Now, Luciano, he's the 9th overall prospect in all of MLB right now. They have Kyle Harrison. He's the 25th overall prospect in all of MLB. And then they also have Louis Matos. He's the 65th overall ranked prospect in all of baseball. And then the proven commodity in Logan Webb.
Yeah.
What do you think about this one?
I really like this a lot. This is the one that I kind of felt like overall felt really clean. Very overall. Because you got 2 top 25 prospects. That's really huge.
Yeah.
So those are going to be some pretty good guys hopefully one day.
Yeah.
And then you have Logan Webb. And the Washington Nationals, I mean, their pitching... I mean, their whole team's kind of abysmal, but especially their pitching. If you could bring someone in like Logan Webb, who's kind of not the main guy on the San Francisco Giants, but is a good player, comes over and becomes that kind of like a veteran piece.
Totally.
That's amazing. I do like it. Now, I love it for San Francisco because this just extends their window so much because they're an older team. Yeah. This will literally keep their franchise going for another decade. So I love it on both ends.
I think this one makes the most sense for both teams. I think it's a good enough return for Washington to entertain the offer right now. And also, too, I like the makeup of this deal because you're getting 2 pitchers back, you're getting an outfielder, and you're getting an infielder. So it's like you're dealing with your entire baseball team right now, and they're all quality guys, right? Like even the 65th ranked overall prospect, I know our Blue Jay fans out there, like Jordan Groshans, he's ranked 82.
Yeah.
So this guy's better than him, right? So it's like this is a quality guy that you could be getting back right now. And again, like Logan Webb, 2.5 ERA this year. Like this is a fucking good baseball player that they have.
Yes,
so for me, this one out of every single one on this article, this is the most likely thing to happen. I ranked this like an 8. I was doing a little ranking system. I put 8.5 out of 10 on this one, and I could totally see the Giants as well. Just being a squad where it's like I just feel like Juan Soto, you belong in a Giants jersey.
Yeah, he does. I'm picturing.
Like
it looks good.
I don't see you in a Tigers jersey. Like I don't know. Like it's just like a Giants jersey. Absolutely.
Yeah, I hear you. Now, this is where, for me, it starts to go into a little bit of a spiral. There's starting to be some question marks.
Yeah, a little bit of questionability right here. Okay.
So, number 5, it's to the Padres. Yeah. Now, Padres are competitive, but let's take a look at this deal first, and we can talk about the team makeup later. Yep. So, Soto going to the Padres for Jake Cronenworth, who is, an all-star. He's a great player. For one of their top, I think it is their top prospect, C.J. Abrams, big potential. However, he is a shortstop behind Tatis in the depth chart.
Yeah.
Mackenzie Gore, another big prospect who hasn't really come up and found his place yet. And then Robert Hassel, the third.
Yeah.
That's all coming back in a deal. Now, what do you think about this?
So, I actually don't mind this one too bad. I don't. Just because, like, C.J. Abrams, he's literally behind Tatis. Like, you got to think, this is a guy that's, like, on the radar right now to be traded away. Like, it's not burning a hole in your pocket, but it's like, we could definitely get rid of him right now. Like, we have that position shored up.
Mm-hmm.
Mackenzie Gore, though, like, that's definitely a piece to lose. Now, he hasn't been phenomenal in his rookie season. Also, shout out to the person who just subscribed. Thank you. But still, like, a big guy right there. And Robert Hassel III, now, he's actually their top acting prospect because, like, Gore and Abrams have just played enough to just edge themselves out of that. But I think that I think the premise right now of having Tatis, Juan Soto, and Machado on one baseball team, it's almost too crazy to comprehend.
Yeah. And look, for me, they're not signing him back. They're not going to be. No, they're not going to sign him back.
Yeah.
Like you already have Machado. You have Tatis to monster $300+ million deals. You're really going to get a guy for $440+? I just don't see that happening.
Yeah,
so for me, that's why it kind of gets a little questionable. I don't think this will ever happen because it just straight up doesn't make sense. Like, you are trading all this capital for a guy for what, 2-3 more years?
Yeah, you basically have him for 2.5 years. Now, I will say, the Padres management has been known to get a little freaking wiggy with it. Like, if they truly believe that, hey, we could win a World Series in these next 2 years, and if you actually believe that, Padres management, then I say fucking go for it. Like, do it, get your guy, and then win. But you have to win.
Or else it's a big loss.
Exactly. You have to win. And as Adam's saying, it'd be very difficult for you to extend him. So if you don't win, then this is a big fat L. I do think this one's a bit more unlikely than maybe the St. Louis Cardinals one and the Giants one. I still think this is more likely, though, than the Boston one and probably the Detroit one, you know?
All right, next up we got here Soto to the Marlins for Perez, Rogers, Jesus Sanchez, and Max Meyer. Okay, so what do you think about
now?
This
for
one?
me, this is where the article starts to go off the rails.
Because Marlins ain't going to be doing it because they're in their division, first of all.
That's the number one big red flag.
It just doesn't make any sense.
They're in their division right now, and also, I just don't see the Miami Marlins being the type of squad to come out here and shell out all this capital for Juan Soto.
No.
I just don't
ain't
see
gonna
them
happen.
actively doing that.
No.
Especially with like some of the conversations that were had in the offseason and stuff like that. Like, I don't think that they're the type of squad to do this, and this is a lot of capital to be given up for them.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
It doesn't make any sense, and it just doesn't make any sense. I don't like it.
I don't like that one. Deal number 6, not a big fan.
This one is insane.
This one's nuts. This one's nuts.
Right, so we got Soto going to the Angels for Mike Trout, Taylor Ward, and Reed Detmers or something?
Reed Detmers. Now, I'm going to say this right now. It just doesn't make, like, Mike Trout.
No, it just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense
Let's
at
just,
all.
like, lateral. You know, I get he's a lot younger. You're getting a lot younger Mike Trout. I totally get it. But, guys, you know, Angels, we've done this before.
Right.
It hasn't been working.
But here's the thing, though. It doesn't make... I think it makes a bit more sense for the Angels than it actually does for the freaking Washington Nationals. It doesn't make any sense. You know, it's like you're advancing the clock right now. Sure, you're getting Mike Trout, and that's great. But you're just like, you're not going to be competitive, with this team. Like, you're just not. Like, you're just advancing the clock. It doesn't make any sense for them.
Yeah, it doesn't, because then you're going to let Mike Trout die on your team just like the Angels have been. But it just doesn't make any sense.
Like, it might make sense to get Juan Soto to a long deal because you have so much time, but the clock is ticking on Mike Trout. The clock is ticking, and we've seen injuries being a problem for him recently. So, I don't like this one at all. And then the last deal is just, it's obviously, it's like, this is just like...
They even say it, watch the world burn.
Watch the world burn, because this is never going to happen. This is more of just like a, this is really funny thing. Soto... Then he gets traded for Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper reunites with the Washington Nationals, and then a fucking slew of other guys. You get Mick Abel, Bryson Stott, Andrew Painter, Alec Baum, Ranger Suarez. This makes zero sense.
Yeah.
For this probably makes a lot of sense. This makes more sense for the Washington Nationals because they're getting a lot of guys. But for the Philadelphia Phillies, you're talking.
And first of all, to have that conversation being like, well, let's trade back for Bryce Harper after the fan base literally ousted him.
Yeah.
Like, he's dead to them.
Dude, do you know how much Bryce Harper would hate the Philadelphia Phillies?
He would hate that.
Like, I think that have to be in his contract. It's like, okay, so I'm not getting traded to the Washington Nationals. Right?
It would just never. This would just never happen.
It would never happen. And also for the Phillies too, it's like I'm not even convinced that Soto is going to be better than Harper for the next 3 years.
I'm not convinced.
Like I'm not like they'll probably be around the exact same. So it just doesn't make any sense at all.
Doesn't make sense to me. All right, guys. So that is us looking at these potential trades brought to you by Sportsnet. So shout out Sportsnet for that article.
Yeah. Please comment down below any trade ideas that you guys do have and what you thought about all of the ones that we saw today, and alternatively some other teams that we didn't talk about, because Juan Soto's getting moved. We want to know where he's gonna go. All right, now you want to move on to the power rankings.
Let's do the power rankings, folks.
Perfect. Yeah, it's the time of the week, guys, where we like to rank the goddamn teams. Everybody. Coming in at number 10, we have the Milwaukee Brewers, 53-43. I think that they need something else right now. I think that they need to make a move at the trade deadline, because it's like they've just been around this area, and I think that they're better than that. Their offense is actually better than their pitching this year, which is kind of questionable.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's like they're 9th in OPS this season, which is actually pretty good for them.
Yeah, that is good.
But it's just like, I don't know. Something's not right about this team, and I feel like they haven't hit their stride yet. So they need something.
I think their pitching needs to get better, and then their offense, I guess, just keep it up. But you see that's the difference. Last year, it was the pitching was so dominant, and the offense was so bad, but they were better.
Yeah.
You'll find a common theme in pitching and offense in this power rankings.
Yeah, exactly. So Brewers, you're 10, but I'm not loving anything you're doing right now. Number 9 is the Seattle Mariners, guys. So they dropped a few spots this week. Now, they were red freaking hot coming into the All-Star break. And it just, like, this was not the way that I wanted them to enter into the second half.
They got swept.
They got swept by the Astros. You know, and I know
it's the Astros.
But this is the team that you're going to be playing. This is a potential team that you could be playing in the playoffs, right? It's like, if you're going to get swept by that, like, you got embarrassed after you were 14-0.
Yeah.
Like, come on, you got to do better than that.
Kind of the worst time for an All-Star break, in my opinion, because they got caught off guard.
Yes, they absolutely got caught off guard, but that's why you're going to find Astros a lot higher than the Seattle Mariners, and you got to beat a good team eventually, right? So getting swept, not good enough. Blue Jays coming in at number 8.
Let's go!
Yeah, let's go, baby. We moved up 2 spots. Strong arguments could be made for us to be higher, but I'm going to be honest. I didn't want to push us too high yet because I'm a very skeptical Blue Jays fan. I don't want to, like, overreact right now and then have to do the same thing with the Mariners and drop us down. So I'm moving us up slowly. I'm moving us up steadily right now. And there are some reasons the team ahead of us, and the multiple teams ahead of us are going to have some better pitching than we do. Pitching is still questionable for me, but obviously offense is really kicking ass right now. We're 3rd in OPS.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't agree more with that. Like, pitching is the name of the game, and everyone is way better. Number 7, this is a guy that's have a better pitching. Surprisingly, Tampa Bay Rays, they're 4th in ERA. And they have a very similar record. They only half a game back from us, but they are ahead of us just because of that pitching.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, Tampa Bay Rays, they're just fucking pesky guys, and, like, we haven't really been able to annihilate them at all this season, and I just want to, like, I just want to crush that freaking mosquito that keeps bugging around your ear and stuff, and you have 4th in ERA with no confirmed ace. Like, well, I guess Shane McClanahan.
Yeah, Shane McClanahan.
But it's like, who else is on your freaking team, Like, what is going on there? So, yeah, you guys are really good at baseball, and I imagine that we'll see you in the postseason. Who's number 6?
Number 6 is the San Diego Padres. They're 54-43. Now, they've been just kind of going, like, average. They're 5-5 in the last 10. They did move up 2 spots this week. Yeah. But, 8th in ERA. That's the big note.
And also, too, I think part of the reason why they're a bit higher right now is, one, Tatis is beginning that rehab. Like, he should be coming back sooner rather than later. And I just know that the San Diego Padres, they are going to make moves come trade deadline. Like, if they do acquire a Juan Soto, for instance, like, this is, how could you possibly ignore this team right now? And I'm not saying that they're going to get that guy, but they will be acquiring some guys, and, like, it's gonna come, right? So 54 wins, they're going to get a lot more than that.
Well, another team that's going to get a few guys this trade deadline, you got to bet on it, is the New York Mets coming in at number 5.
Yeah.
Now, this is where the tiers rate.
It changed. It changed from, like, there's a big gap between the Padres, I think, and the Mets right now. Like,
100%.
It is definitely a sizable gap.
100%. The Mets have with 59 wins, 6-4 in their last 10, and the pitching's amazing. And DeGrom is actually starting his rehab.
He's starting his rehab. I just got a notification, so he should be back sooner rather than later. And is there a better reinforcement to have?
Oh, no,
not really, right? It's like that is basically a confirmed win every 5 days, so that's huge for them.
Huge.
Number 4 is the Atlanta Braves. They're just slightly better in like pretty much all the categories than the Mets right now, even though they're 1 game back. So I really like them. Their offense is phenomenal. They're clicking on all cylinders. Austin Riley, you know all about him. You own him in
fantasy team. He's going crazy right now, guys. Smacking so many homers. I think he's touching 30. Not 30 yet, but like 28. It's amazing.
He is a very, very good baseball player, man. And that lineup is super scary. This is a team I do not want to see in the playoffs. Like, they just look dangerous to me.
And then this is where the tiers get even higher.
Yeah.
This is another tier, guys. At number 3, we got the Houston Astros, who, yes, we mentioned before, just swept the Seattle Mariners. They're actually on a 5-game win streak right now. And I feel like every time we do power rankings, and I love grabbing the last 10, they're always like 7-3.
They're always just consistently doing good. Doesn't matter who they're playing. Like, hey, we've seen them beat the Yankees more times than not this year. They're the only team that's like really had the Yankee number, and that is very important this season, you know? So they've been phenomenal, man, across the board, pitching and offense. They're great. They just swept the hottest team in baseball, you know, coming into this thing.
Doesn't matter who they face, it seems like they can beat them.
They can beat them, dude. Number 2, and finally dethroned, is the New York Yankees, man. Yeah. Finally. I mean, like just the other team in front of them. I mean, you guys know who it is, but like they're just catching up in the record-wise. Yankees are still doing very good. I don't want to take anything away from them, but they're just not as dominant as they were like in June.
They feel like in the last 3 weeks they've been playing 500 ball. Again, grab the last 10. It feels like 5-5, 4-6, 6-4. Like it's like they're just 500 ball, and they just also lost Michael King.
Exactly.
Huge piece of their bullpen, so they drop a spot because look, they're just kind of just doing okay. And the team that's in number 1 is the hottest team in baseball.
Yeah, LA Dodgers. They're number 1 in ERA. They're number 1 in OPS. They're 9-1 in their last 10. It feels like they're always like 8-2, 9-1. Like just fucking so good at baseball, man. And like again, you want to talk about teams that are going to acquire people at the deadline. They are obviously going to do that. Like would not be surprised to see Frankie Montas in a Dodger uniform very, very soon. So they're number 1. They're the team to beat right now. But those are your power rankings for this week.
Yes, absolutely.
See if we can move up, dude.
All right.
What do we have going on for the Toronto Blue Jays? That's going to move us up these power rankings.
All right here, folks. Next week, first of all, I just want to remind everybody, or I said it earlier in the show, we are holding on to the number 1 wildcard spot right now. We got to keep that spot. And this week, we have a pretty favorable week to keep it. We are 53-43, so we're 10 games above 500. St. Louis Cardinals, they are coming into town tomorrow, and for a 2-game series. And to note, we have to note this: they're going to be without Goldschmidt, and they're going to be without Arenado.
Yeah, literally, they're 2 best players they will not have, right? So, like, that is absolutely huge for us, you know? I didn't even know if there's a good, like, that'd be like walking into a playoff series without Alek Manoah and, like, fucking Alejandro Kirk for us, you know? It's like, that is, like, just huge, like, a massive blow. So, I'm just not as scared as about their lineup anymore.
I'm not.
I'm really not as scared.
However, they do have good pitching, so we cannot forget that.
Yeah, and they do have some other bats as well. I don't want to take anything away, but, like, Arenado and Goldschmidt are
those are the pieces.
Yeah.
Those are the pieces. So, Tuesday we have Jose Barrios taking the mound against Palante. He's got a 3.34 ERA, so that's pretty nice.
Better than Barrios.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Wednesday, we've got Gosman, who's got a 3 ERA on the season, up against Adam Wainwright with a 3.40.
Okay.
So that's pretty good. What do you think about that? What are you expecting?
I think minimum, we got to split. Minimum, we have to split. You know, I do think that there is a decent enough chance that we take 2.
Yeah.
But I think if I was to simulate this like 1,000 times, majority of the time we only win 1. So I'm going to be conservative here and say that we win 1, we lose 1, with the upside of, you know, maybe 30% of the time we end up taking both of them.
I'm going to agree with you on that. Yeah, because like, Barrios has been really good. Yeah. He's been really good in the last few starts, so I don't want to say, that 5.22 ERA is like, automatic loss. He's been good. Gosman, as we know, has been great. Yeah. And we are home in Toronto. They're missing 2 bats, so yes, 1-1. Yeah. But the fan of me wants to say we take
exactly. I will say, like, for sure though, like basically losing Arenado and Goldschmidt, that just like took away the sweep on our end out of this, because I could totally have seen that as being a reality had they both had those guys, because they're a very good team. Yeah. I don't think that that's going to happen at all anymore. Like, knock on the wood. Right. I do think at least we're going to win 1. So.
Absolutely. All right, and then we're going into a 4-game series on the weekend against the Detroit Tigers. They're a bad team, guys.
They suck.
There are 20 games under 500. 20 games.
Yeah.
That's a pit you can't come out from. On Thursday, we've got Alek Manoah with a 2.24 ERA, absolutely elite.
Yeah.
Versus Michael Pineda with a 5.27 ERA.
Great.
Woo!
Love it.
Friday, we've got Ross Stripling with a 3.10 versus Garcia with a 4.59. Now, this is where the matchups start to get questionable because we don't know who's going to start on Saturday because that's our vacant spot. We could have a new pitcher by Saturday.
Give it to me already.
So, honestly, guys, I'm going to say this right now. We could be making a trade realistically before Saturday.
Yeah.
Because the trade deadline is this, what is it, Tuesday? Upcoming, not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday.
Upcoming Tuesday at 6 o'clock.
That could be a realistic
time. That's close enough.
That could be a realistic time. We could make a trade to fill in that spot versus our old friend Drew Hutchison, 4.46 ERA.
I wonder what Louis Castillo's pitching schedule's like right now. Like, when does he pitch next, guys?
Who knows? Who knows? And then on Sunday, we've got Jose Barrios back again, facing their question marks because they're dealing with a lot of injuries. So we don't know. Probably a bunch of bullpens. Probably really bad.
Yeah. So are we on the road or are we at home for this one?
We are at home.
We're at home for this one. Okay. I think minimum 3.
Mm-hmm.
Minimum 3.
I think we need to take 3 of 1.
Yeah.
And I don't even know which one we lose. Maybe the bullpen. Who knows? But
I don't know.
Someone could get blown out.
Baseball is going to be baseball, and that's just going to happen. So I don't want to go too deep into it and predict that. But realistically, we have to be taking 3 against a team that's 20 wins below 500. That just needs to happen.
I agree. So on the week with our realistic predictions, let's say we're going to go 4-2.
4-2.
Okay.
With the upside of going 5-1, maybe in that St. Louis series.
Exactly. That'd be a really nice week.
That'd be very good. That'd be a very good week.
Really nice week.
That's what we're saying for the Toronto Blue Jays, and hopefully, along with that, 4-2, 5-1, we also acquire a starting pitcher like a Louis Castillo or something like that.
Louis Castillo, Martin Perez. I put it in the title being big trade incoming for the Blue Jays because that could be the possibility.
Yeah.
That could be the possibility. So keep your ears and eyes open and also check it on this channel too. We're going to definitely be talking about it.
Absolutely. Guys, thank you so much for watching along the Blue Jays Today show. Typically, we would be doing the wheel. However, we already did it for last week, so stay tuned. We've already done a pick pitching categories in my original. We'll look at that next week, guys. We're going to be live again tomorrow evening talking a lot about trade rumors. Juan Soto, Louis Castillo, pretty much everything that's going on right now. I know that the Oakland Athletics, they have a catcher going right now.
Yeah, Sean Murphy.
Yeah, literally. It's other teams as well, not just Blue Jays. So stay tuned for that. And we're going to be going live a lot more as well, just trade rumors and everything like that. Could have a collaboration going on with Ballcap Sports.
Shout out Ballcap Sports.
Yeah, so shout out to Jimmy. Shout out to Jimmy. I know all you guys will like that. But thank you to everybody for tuning in so far. If you haven't already done so, please hit the like and subscribe button. It's been great.
Yes, guys. And also, here's just a reminder of who we picked this week because I still love the wheel. The wheel's fun.
Wheel's great. Wheel's great, guys.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching.
Go Jays, go!